So good afternoon and good morning, everybody, wherever you are. My name is Joris Metters. I work for IBM and I'm moderating this session today. And just like my previous session, I have a very easy job to do because I have two fantastic speakers with me here today, which will take care of you. If you have questions during the sessions, please mention them in the chat. And we will come back and I'll try to answer them the best way possible at the end during the Q&A, but feel free to drop any question whenever you like. And with that, we're good to go. And I would like to give the floor to Giles and Darren.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us here today. Thanks for spending that time. It's great to see you all. A few names I recognize there. So just by way of introduction, my name is Giles Newson from Interskill. I look after a number of our clients based in the UK and also in the EMEA region. I've been attending the GSE in-person group since it began, and this was way before Whittlebury Hall. This was in a hotel in Gloucester, and the name, I can never remember the name of it, and it's one that I'd like to forget, because we were one of the first two vendors at the first meeting there, and they put us into a really drafty, freezing cold corridor that linked the two meeting rooms that were then available. So I remember spending 2 days of my life in this corridor, chatting to users, chatting to people, giving out our t-shirts as we do. But thankfully now that's moved on massively since they moved to Whittlebury Hall. So it's a great event, as you know, Whittlebury Hall. Mark and his team, every one of the team, do an amazing job at running that whole event. So it's fantastic to be involved there. So yeah, I've been involved in mainframe education for 30 years next month, and throughout that time I've had the pleasure to be working with a fine gentleman called Mr. Darren Search. I'll hand you over to him in a second. Yeah, Darren's our CEO. He's a lifetime IBM champion. He's a regular speaker at these sorts of events at GSE, at Share, at the old IBM Tech Use when they were running before COVID, and he's a member of a lot of the think tanks, the organizations that promote the mainframe as a platform and mainframe education. So yes, it's an honor to have Darren with us today, and it's scary to think that between us we've had more than 60 years in the mainframe education space, which is
and yet we look so young.
Yeah, well, we started when we were 10, didn't we? So yeah, so we're going to talk about mainframe education today, how it's changed over the years. It was very different, even sort of pre-COVID. Things have changed dramatically since then. We've talked about everybody's talked about the skills crisis and people retiring, and we're trying to train these young people. There's amazing initiatives going on throughout the world, helping us to sort of bring new people into mainframe and to train them and then hold on to them. And people at the likes of Herb Daly, Henry Kuiper, who we were just talking about, do an amazing job in this region and globally. So we take that to all those people. Yeah. Herb, I would have mentioned you anyway, even if you weren't on the call. I would have. So yeah, what I'm doing, I'm going to pass you straight over to Darren, who's basically going to talk us through the future direction of mainframe education.
Thanks, Giles. I appreciate it. And thanks, GuideShare Europe, for this opportunity. It's fantastic to be chatting with you today. We'll chat about training, engaging, and retaining a modern mainframe workforce. There you go. I can read the slides. Please save up questions till the end. We'll have quite a bit of time to chat about anything or everything you're interested in chatting about. So we'll start off with this little thing. This gentleman over on the right here is a mainframe manager, and he's working hard. He's really working hard trying to train his mainframe workforce. and he's working hard and he's putting in the effort. He's diligent and determined to train his mainframe workforce, but there's probably a few better ways that he could do things to make things a little bit easier. So this is Giles and I over on the left. We got a few better ways to show you today so that you can not work so hard to make headway when you're training your mainframe workforce. I love this cartoon. So I'm not sure if anybody out there knows who this gentleman is. A little bit of mainframe history. This is the gentleman who started it all, Thomas J. Watson Sr., founder of IBM, and shouldn't be any difficulty knowing this gentleman, Arvind Krishna, current CEO of IBM. Being a mainframe training person, I love these two quotes from these gentlemen. Obviously, they're focused on the mainframe and technology and all of these sorts of things, but it's just wonderful to know that they see the importance of education and training and mainframe skills in the future of the industry, the current, past, present, and future of the industry. So just a past and present thing. I love showing this off at the start of a presentation. There is no saturation point in education, and the passion for lifelong learning, says Arvind Krishna. These are critical parts of all mainframe careers today, is that thing to keep learning. Just a little off the track, the CEO of Google, but there's an interesting quote here. It talks a little bit about something we'll chat about later, which is the half-life of skills. Back in the early days of mainframe, you could be a COBOL programmer and probably work for years with those same skills, or a systems person with those same skills being productive for you and not have to do too much training. But things have changed. With the speed of technology change these days, with everything else that's going on, you really need to be training constantly, continually, that lifetime learning thing, so that you are keeping your skills up to speed. Upskilling is a commonly used industry term, and the skills that you have continue to be productive for you, to give you output. One more stat, and then we'll get into something more interesting. There's a lot of shortages of tech. Anybody out there in the mainframe industry knows it's you can find mainframe personnel, but they're not everywhere. They're a little bit rare. They're a little bit hard to find, especially highly skilled mainframe personnel. So the importance of internal training, of training your workforce, IT workforce in general, but mainframe workforce specifically that we're talking about today, is really critical. To not only train your existing mainframers, but train up other non-mainframe IT people in your organization in mainframe skills so that they can fill some of these mainframe roles. So the importance of training. So here's some of the stuff that you would have heard me talk about. You've probably experienced over the last 5, 10, 20 years of your careers, however long you've been in the mainframe. We've talked about all of this stuff. Everybody knows about these wonderful conferences and events like GuideShare Europe. Thank you again. Live and virtual, Share, the old IBM Tech Use, various other conferences, iDugs and various things. The IBM community is fantastic. And of course, the communities of Share and GSE. E-learning is something Giles and I know a lot about. And classroom training, which has been around, instructor-led training has been around since the start of the industry. So we all know that these are ways that you can train. And a modern mainframe workforce training program should include as many of these as possible. People like to learn different ways, like going into a restaurant. Not everybody orders the same food all the time. You like to have a nice menu of different ways that you can train, different modalities, some interactive with other people, some you can stand alone. Learning plans, reporting, and analytics are very important so that you can see skill gaps across your organization from a management point of view, and focus some training on areas where people are having troubles with. All of these sorts of things. Again, we've talked about these things endlessly, and so you probably know them pretty well. So what I wanted to do today is cover a few things that aren't talked about as often. As I said in the bottom corner, you probably know about these already. Let's talk about something a little bit different, because with all this training that an organization provides to their workforce, their IT workforce and their mainframe workforce, providing the training is only half the battle. If your personnel aren't doing the training, then it's just shelfware. It's just sitting there. So the other half of the battle is actually getting personnel to do the training. And these are, finally, I get to the point. These are the 4 things that I wanted to chat with you about today that are going to motivate and inspire and get your personnel to really consume a lot of training and consume that training optimally and get the best learning outcomes out of it. So the philosophy of lifelong learning, developing a learning culture at your organization, digital credentialing, a new love of mine over the last 6 or 7 years. Thank you, IBM, for your credentialing program. And coaching and mentoring, which is in the mainframe space, is absolutely critical. So these are the 4 things we'll chat about today. And we can have questions after that. So firstly, lifelong learning, nice little definition here: the ongoing, voluntary, and self-motivated pursuit of knowledge. So that's pretty dry. Really, it's just about continuous learning. It's about realizing that your skills need to be updated. You need to upskill, you need to broaden your skills just for the quality of your life. You start off in K through 12 schools, university, in your work, right through your work. These are the things that make you do your job better, open you up for promotions, improve the success of your organization, lessen downtime and errors, come up with the next great, big, wonderful idea that changes the industry. The skills and knowledge that you have are what arm you to do all that stuff. And it's just about living a better life. So continuous learning, IBM had a wonderful, or still do, I think, have a wonderful program called Think 40. A lot of studies show that 40-hour mark is about the optimal level of training that you should do if you're working full-time. So you should try and complete at least 40 hours of professional education every year, professional development. So IBM's got the Think 40 where you have to keep track of that. But for everybody else, try and shoot for that goal. That's less than an hour a week. So you probably should do more than 40, but that's a good benchmark to shoot for. And continue to train through the year. And it's not all about dry classes or e-learning courses or so forth. Coming to GuideShare Europe Virtual, this is training. Reading articles on your LinkedIn every morning on your cell phone to see what people in the industry are writing about. That's training. So just continue to try and give yourself that sort of stuff each day, each week, and learn about the world around you, the mainframe world around you, and improve your skills and interact with others and so forth. We talked about that half-life of skills being shorter and shorter. So again, for the importance of learning. So a learning culture. Josh Bersin is a training industry genius, a luminary. And he says the single biggest driver of business impact is the strength of an organization's learning culture. So what's a learning culture? Seeing as it's so important. One definition is it's a set of values in your organization, processes and practices that encourage employees and the organization as a whole to continually learn and add new skills. So again, ties into lifelong learning. My favorite is just, it's a shift from teaching employees to inspiring people to learn. So we've all been in that position where we start January 1 and we say, my New Year's resolution is I'm going to do this much training this year. And you get to December 30th and you go, oof, I really wanted to do some training this year, but I've been so busy with my work. Next year, I'm definitely doing some training. The organizations need to make training readily available. And here's how to create a learning culture. This is one of these horrible slides that they tell you not to do in any PowerPoint presentation, just too much text and bullet lists and so forth. So we'll talk you through this. A culture of learning is really just shifting from a manager telling the team that they have to do this training and they begrudgingly do the training and get it done and check that off the list and so forth. That's a pretty old way of doing things. A culture of learning is making training cool. It's providing training, making sure that everybody understands that for the good of their career, for their enjoyment in their job, for the fun and pleasure that they have every day doing their work, for their chance for promotion, for their chance for moving into other job roles, to do something more interesting, for helping the organization. All of these things tie back to training. So creating a culture of learning is just really spreading that message, making sure that training is readily available, and doing things like the digital credentialing that we'll talk about in a minute as a reward and a recognition of the training that you do, any sorts of other reward, recognition, and so forth that you can do, is going to make people think, that person's just done a course, I might do that course, or that's an interesting course that my colleague's just done, I might do that one, or I'm really interested in getting this digital badge so I can put it up in LinkedIn and everyone can tell me how cool I am. So I'm going to do this course and earn this digital badge. I noticed that one of my colleagues that's done a lot of training and received the recognition for it has just got the promotion that came up because they obviously had that skill and they've done that training. So my organization's promoting internally rather than going out to find external people. I can see that there's a real benefit to me doing this training so that I can get the next promotion or be put in charge of the next project that goes on, et cetera, et cetera. So again, this is a culture of learning. This is making it cool, making it interesting, making it enjoyable, having everybody understand that this is an important part of their careers and the success of the organization. And I have belabored that point, my apologies. So many advantages to a culture of learning. As I said, Josh Burton says it's incredibly important to the success of your organization, and it really is. I mean, you can get better systems, you can improve your software, you can do all sorts of other things, but it's not going to give your organization the lift that creating a culture of learning and having an optimally skilled workforce running your systems, nothing else really compares. There's really nothing can lift your organization like training, like a learning culture can. So critically important when you think of it. Managers don't want to be chasing after people and saying, you've got to do this training, you've got to do this training, why haven't you done this training? Try and set up this culture of learning so that everyone wants to train. They see the benefit in it, they see the logic behind it, and they go and voluntarily source training, seek training, complete training, get recognized for training, and it starts to snowball and feed on itself. And Mainframe managers no longer have the worry of trying to push training. It just becomes an organization that loves training. So digital credentialing, IBM brought out their IBM Digital Badge program 7 or 8 years ago. It won a number of awards in its first couple of years from the training industry. Fantastic work with Credly, which is the system, now part of Pearson, which is the credentialing system that they use. It's really changed mainframe training. It's really changed IBM training. And you'll see, especially if you've got a LinkedIn profile, you'll see an enormous number of vendors, of corporations, of companies, offering digital credentialing now. It's really the way of the future and a big part of education. So what is a digital badge? I remember when digital credentialing first came out, digital badges, a lot of people I talked to said, yeah, this is like a gold star sticker that the teacher used to put on my homework at school. You know, there's a lot more to it than just a sticker, just a attaboy, just a well done. Digital credentials have that global standard, the Open Badges version 2.1 standard. There is metadata in every digital credential. So for every digital credential, if someone's earned it, you can click on it again in LinkedIn or Twitter or wherever it's been published. You can see who earned the badge, who issued the badge, when it was issued, what training or other things. Obviously, badges can be for speaking at conferences, for earning patents, for completing projects, for raising charity, money for charity, all sorts of things organizations will give digital credentials for. But in this aspect, we'll talk about training. So the metadata shows all about that thing that they've earned. So I suppose if somebody had gone to a class and done a JCL class without a digital credential, they could say, yeah, I did a JCL class. Well, okay, what was taught at that class? How many days was it? Who taught it? Was it somebody that really knew JCL? Was it somebody that was just filling in? Who was the company? Where was it done? all sorts of other information to get an idea of the efficacy of that training. How good is that training? When did they learn it? Did they learn it 10 years ago and things have changed since then? Was it last year, et cetera, et cetera? The skill level, evidence, recommendations, expression. You can see all this metadata on the right that is included in every badge. So for organizations, they can see what people have learned and how they learned it, and down to a granular level, what they've learned, when, who gave the training, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this is incredibly powerful stuff. And I suppose as the internet has become a little more crazy over the last few years, there's an objective question that people have as to what's true and what's not true. You know, people can represent things, I suppose, the same way as people used to represent themselves on their resumes. They used to enhance the truth every once in a while about what they knew and so forth on their resume. But this digital credentialing is an objective source of truth around skills, because you can't forge it. It tracks back to the person that issued the badge and who delivered the training. You can see exactly what they learned, when they learned it, and so on and so forth. So it's a benchmark, and it's an objective level of truth around people's skills. And that's critical these days, because organizations' success depend on the skill of their workforce, as we talked about. I am rambling, but here we go. These are some of the IBM skills badges. There's a couple of different types of badges, or there's a lot of different types of badges, but a couple we'll focus on today with IBM. Skills badges are, as the name suggests, earned for training on a skill. So as you can see here, you know, JCL, JES2, STSF, et cetera, do a course or a set of courses or a curriculum or a learning path on that particular skill, and you'll earn a skills badge, and it will show that you are skilled in that area. Just a little bit of a information on the colors that IBM use. The green is foundational, and you can see I'm not sure if you can see my mouse pointer. You can see the little one bar like on a cell phone here. So green is foundational. The burgundy red color is intermediate level training, and the blue is advanced level training. So again, these are skills badges focused on specific skills. The ones on the right are quite new. Only the last year and a half, IBM has brought them out. And this is because the Microsoft world, the AWS world, the Cisco world, et cetera, they work by certification. So people are certified to show that they have the skills needed for a job role. And these IBM professional certificates are that for IBM in the mainframe space. They show a level of skill and knowledge, proficiency in a job role. So professional certificates are available for mainframe computer operators at various levels, mainframe system programmers, again, at various levels. So they show the proficiency to do a job, to be employed as a computer operator or a system programmer, and have the skills and knowledge needed to do that. These are the new objective benchmarks of mainframe skills in the industry, according to IBM. And you'll see more and more of them. They're really just starting to kick in and get started, but they're becoming more and more important. Some of the benefits of digital credentialing, I'm looking at my clock, so we're doing good. Some of the benefits of digital credentialing, when IBM first started the digital badge program, again, 6 or 7 years ago, about 6 months in, so they added all these badges for their internal training at IBM. And about 6 months in, they did a study on what sort of impact that had. And again, this is just making badges available, rewarding people with a digital badge for completing training and so forth. And the results were staggering, absolutely staggering. The student enrollments went up by 129%, so more than double, just because the badges were there. So people that before would have said, yeah, do I do some training? Do I not? I'm pretty busy at work. I'll do some training later in the year. But because the badges were there, they said, you know what? I want to do this course. I want to earn this badge, and just voluntarily went out again, tying back to this culture of learning, this lifelong learning that we were talking about. So people were going out and voluntarily enrolling themselves in courses and doing the training to earn the badge. This bottom left one here, the number of students passing end of course assessments, 694% increase in number of students passing end of course assessment. So again, formerly people would have done a course because their boss told them they had to do a course, and they'd sort of be there and go through it and get it done and check the box and say, yeah, I've done the course. But because there was a digital badge that they wanted at the end of this course, they were studying, they were paying attention, they were learning the stuff that the class was teaching them and making sure that they passed this course at the end of it so that they could earn the digital badge. Again, just by having the badge there, 694% increase in end of course assessment being passed. So as an organization, if you're going to pay for the training and make the training available, this is what you want. You want your people to learn optimally, learn the most they can from a course and pass the course and have those skills. Just sending people to training if they're not going to pay attention is a waste of everyone's time and money. Number of enrollments, completing courses. I mean, you can see the numbers here. Just having these badges available, we are humans. We are simple creatures. We love to feel good. We love to put stuff up on LinkedIn and have people say, hey, congratulations, well done. This is really cool. We like to have people say, oh, this person really knows JCL, or this person really knows COBOL, or this person really knows Z operations, etc. So it's gamification. It motivates us where we are motivated. So massive triple-digit growth in every metric. Just having badges available drive training and improve training outcomes. Some other side effects. Sorry, Joel.
Yeah, no, I can just reinforce that a little bit. I mean, some of the clients that have been using our training, and there's other training available, obviously, and the usage has transformed in the last 2 to 3 years since badges. We'd probably say that every single large client that we have has doubled. At least the usage has actually doubled, and now we're going into the next level of usage, where the IBM professional certificate. So all those people are earning the badges, and the certificates become the stacked badges. So they learn more and more skills, and it becomes an IBM certificate. So they're all already talking about like huge growth coming up in this year as well. So.
Yeah, and that's half the battle, isn't it? This takes away the stress for the mainframe managers and for the organization, because people want to train when there are badges involved. Yeah, we did Interskill. Sorry to segue into this, but Interskill did 960,000 hours of mainframe training globally last year, and you know, a lot of that is because of the training that's driven by IBM badges, IBM digital credentialing, and you know, the e-learning, Interskill's e-learning is always available, so people are going and finding courses and completing training. It's just been staggering the amount of additional training that the industry's done on the back of these badges. So some other side effects. Thanks, mate. Thanks, Giles. Some other side effects, side benefits, I suppose. Employee engagement. There's an IBM Smarter Workforce study, analyzed data from over 19,000 workers in 26 countries, again, around having copious training available and rewarding people for the training that they do, things like digital credentials. And these numbers are staggering. I mean, all of you work for organizations, try and find me a way that you can get your personnel 3 times more engaged in their work with any other way than something like this. It's just amazing numbers. So this engagement comes from, you know, people may have been doing their job and weren't quite sure that they had the skills that they needed to do their job. So they were a little worried about maybe messing up and doing something wrong. And so the company wasn't providing training, and they'll leave, or they won't be, you know, fully involved in their day because they're not sure of themselves. Providing this copious training people up, giving them the skills they need to do their job, and then more skills to give them an upward path in their careers, the chance for promotions and moving to something else. This is the importance of training. And with the digital credentialing, recognizing that and showing other people what training they've done, this just enhances it as well. So 3 times increase in employee engagement. These are IBM stats. 2 times improvement in workforce retention, which is really important these days. After the pandemic, there's a thing you'll read about in the media called the Great Resignation. You'll see articles online as well. A lot of people changing jobs, either retiring or changing jobs and moving around at the moment. And for your mainframe organization, it's hard enough replacing just the people that retire. If you've got people, skilled mainframers actually leaving and going to another company, that can be just catastrophic, trying to fill in the gaps and excuse me, cover for people that have left. So again, copious, readily available training plus recognition for that training, as in digital credentials, 2 times. So halved the chances of people leaving, 2 times improvement in workforce retention. Again, this is on a dollar value. This is just a staggering thing for corporations to be able to retain their workforce to this degree, more stop people from leaving. Not stop them from leaving, but just make them want to stay. If it's a good organization, if the organization's training the mainframe workforce, giving them all of their opportunities for not only doing really well in their jobs, but again, to be promoted, to move up into other projects, et cetera, and recognizing for that. So these are pretty staggering bits of data as well. Not just the digital badges. That's part of it, but also having a lot of training available, readily available, instantly available, so people can get at it and train and be better at their jobs and enjoy their lives more and have upward mobility as well. Josh Burson, again, I mentioned him before. This is a trend we're seeing happening across the industry globally at the moment. Because IBM have worked incredibly hard with universities to get universities to train people in some mainframe skills, and so that they graduate university ready to move into a mainframe job role. That's great, but not quite the number that the industry needs. So what we're seeing as a global trend is organizations are doing cross-training internally. So the big corporations that run mainframes are making, specifically online, but all sorts of training from that dot diagram we had at the start. So all sorts of different types of training. They're making mainframe training available to their non-mainframe systems IT people. So their distributed systems programmers and systems people are skilled because they've done all of that training at university and they're working in those non-mainframe job roles in IT. But the corporations are saying, here, do this course on COBOL programming, do this course on DB2, do this course on RACF and mainframe security, learn about IBM Z and mainframe systems, just do these courses, earn these IBM badges. This is great. But then the next time that a job opening comes up in the mainframe area, the corporation already has, they can have a look down the list of digital credentials as a pick list. They've already got 1 or 10 or 20 or 30 people that have the skills internally. So they can just bring them straight across into a mainframe job role. They can say, would you like to come over and work in the mainframe? You have the skills. We can give you this position and work in the mainframe. So they're already onboarded. They're already part of the company culture. They have the skills because the company's cross-trained them internally, and they just seamlessly come straight across into the mainframe job role. This Josh Burson study found that it is 6 times more expensive to hire people from outside than it is to train people up internally and bring them across. So with the fees, recruiting fees that you have to pay and the amount of time you spend searching and the amount of downtime before you can actually find somebody looking externally, 6 times more expensive than actually training people up internally and bringing them across. And with those sorts of cost savings, it's no wonder that we're seeing a big trend towards this across the industry of corporations just making mainframe courses available to non-mainframe personnel and saying, here, earn these badges, pick up these skills, and next time there's a job opening in the mainframe space, you're there for it. So very interesting trend to watch. So there's other benefits as well. I've been talking furiously, and I won't drag it on too long. The skills benchmarking we talked about with skills badges and specifically the IBM professional certificates. in the industry, one company's system programmer may not have skills as high as another company's systems programmer or operator or security or whatever the job role is. So there's a lot to be said for having that objective benchmark of skills, what skills and what knowledge personnel working in that job role should have across the industry, so that companies are performing optimally. So these benchmarks are things that you need to train to, and again, digital badges and specifically or especially the professional certificates provide that benchmarking. The culture of learning we talked about, the objective source of digital truth that these badges provide is talked about as well, and that as well. So I got ahead of myself there. So again, the badges aren't something you have to pay for. There's no expense to this. I suppose the simple rule is, as an organization, when you're looking to provide training to your workforce, and there's one course that has a badge and there's another course that doesn't have a badge, may I suggest, for all of the reasons we've just gone through, pick the course, pick the training with the badges, and get all of those benefits that come from that for your personnel wanting to do the training and getting better results, and the internal internal knowledge across your workforce that some people are earning badges and they'll want to as well. So again, it helps lift that culture of learning up. For those of you listening today who are mainframers, thinking about your own career, why do a course without an IBM digital badge or a Broadcom digital badge, or there's Linux Foundation has digital badges. There's quite a few of them out there. But why not earn a digital badge when you do the training? If you're going to go through the training anyway, go through the training that has a digital badge associated with it, earn that badge, put it up on LinkedIn, and suddenly you start to get that visibility, and you're building your personal brand, and you're showing the world that you know your stuff and that you earned this credential, and they can click on that badge and dig down and see exactly what you learned and what skills you've got and so forth. So that's all it is, really. Just look for training with the badge associated with it and get all of those benefits. Okay, final point. This is 4 on that list, and then we'll open up for questions. Coaching and mentoring. Giles, you've seen stuff around this. This is critical. I mean, the mainframe industry has, and we've talked about this for the last 10, 20 years, the mainframe industry has senior mainframers that built these things from the ground up. They've been here since early days of the industry. They know the mainframe back to front, nuts and bolts, every little idiosyncrasy and personality of the system. The knowledge that senior mainframers have built up over decades has to be passed on to the next generation of mainframers. This is not stuff you can learn in a class. This is not stuff that any e-learning course can teach you. This is not stuff you can learn anywhere. The system-specific information and experience and backstory and all of that sort of stuff, that has to be passed on. So coaching and mentoring in the mainframe space, the passing on of the knowledge transfer, the passing on of that knowledge and experience and so forth before these senior mainframers retire, is something that all organizations critically must build into their workforce training program. And there's various ways of really freeing up your senior mainframers, who are incredibly busy people, so that they're not teachers because they don't have the time to be full-time teachers. They're busy doing their work and keeping the systems running. But to be effective coaches and mentors, there's a lot of training and tools and other things that they can use so that it takes a minimum amount of their time for the knowledge transfer. So I suppose to draw a distinction, coaching is more short-term around a skill. I'm having a problem with JCL. Okay, let's talk to you about how to do this with JCL. This is coaching. Mentoring is more taking a young mainframer under your wing, making sure they've got the skills they need to do their job, asking them where they see themselves in 5 years' time. Do they want to move into this role? Do they want to get a promotion? Do they want to go into leadership? Introducing them to the right people, giving them advice, that sort of stuff. So mentoring is more career, coaching is more skill focused. But Giles, have you got any stories of some of your clients over in the UK or Europe that have really used coaching and mentoring effectively? Sorry
Yeah,
to dump you in it.
yeah, no, nothing specific actually, mate. No,
Yeah.
nothing that I've got in my head.
Yeah, we've seen some pretty amazing use of the e-learning to do the heavy lifting, to do the training,
Yes.
and again the badging gets these people motivated, and then the senior mainframers just have a monthly or a quarterly call or face-to-face or Zoom call, just to go through the results of the training and get some feedback and have a discussion, and then set them some more training and meet up with them again in a month or a quarter, and again continue to pass on that backstory and knowledge and experience and wisdom, rather than actually doing the training. So coaches and mentors, I would suggest every young mainframer out there look for a coach or a mentor, specifically a mentor. Go and introduce yourself to one of your senior mainframers and ask if they would be your mentor, and help guide you and give you some feedback and so forth. For all you senior mainframers, don't retire and leave with all of that knowledge and experience, for the good of the industry and the mainframe community, and your organization for that matter. Try and take on coaching and mentoring. Talk to Giles and I. We can show you, talk to you about ways that we've seen some of our clients globally do this really successfully. But senior mainframers should, a guy called Frank DeGilio at IBM, who does the Terminal Talk, Jeff Bisty and Frank DeGilio. If you've not listened to the Terminal Talk podcast, again, that's free from IBM. Look up Terminal Talk and start listening to their podcast. Frank and Jeff are just fantastic. Frank, I heard him speak at one of the Share conferences in the US, and he's got something like 25 people that he mentors, which is just stunning. But again, he lets the IBM training and various other things do all the heavy lifting, and he just meets with them various times during the year and talks them through what's going on in their careers and what their needs are, and connects them to the right people and so forth. What Frank is passing on to the industry is just priceless. So terrific guy. But listen to Terminal Talk if you get a chance. And that is completely off the track. So to recap, this is the stuff we all know. Various ways, various things we could incorporate into our mainframe workforce training program. If your organization is just doing classroom training and nothing else, please think about that restaurant analogy. Nobody wants to go to a restaurant and just order steak and potatoes every time. People like variety. They learn better. Some people learn better some ways, and some people learn better other ways. The younger generation of mainframers coming in have probably been doing e-learning since they were at primary school. So they're really, really used to it. 30 years ago, when I used to go and talk to mainframe organizations about e-learning, they'd look at me with horror in their faces. They didn't quite know what e-learning was, or how it would even work, because they were so used to classroom. So the industry has changed. The internet has brought a whole lot of other ways that you can train. And we suggest, and we see organizations being most successful when they start to blend all of these things into their mainframe workforce training program. IBM community, go to ibm.com and look for the mainframe communities, the IBM communities, and sign up. There's all sorts of blog articles and interaction with other mainframers from all around the world and all sorts of stuff. This is fantastic training. Go to conferences, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Digital credentialing. So the 4 takeaways, just quickly: create a learning culture if you can. That will do the heavy lifting for you. That will make your mainframe team want to learn and take pleasure in learning, and enhance their performance and engagement and the optimal running of the company. Try and mix up the mainframe training and have lots of different stuff out there for people to train the way they like to train best. Tap into IBM digital credentials if you can, because they, again, do a lot of the heavy lifting for you and get people excited about training and consuming much more training annually. And please, 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 mainframe industry, embrace coaching and mentoring, so that we can get that knowledge transfer from senior mainframers before they retire into the heads of the younger mainframe generation. And that's it. To finish, how do you keep a mainframer in suspense?
Well, that's a great session. Thank you very much, guys.
So please submit your session feedback. This is the final slide. I would love to, Giles and I would love to have a chat. I'm clicking on the chat now. Would love to answer any questions that anyone has.
Yeah, can people be unmuted or is it on?
Yeah,
chat?
absolutely. Yeah, we can unmute them.
Yeah.
So Herb Daly says, for the older ones among us, you're not old, Herb. For the older ones among us, helps us remember the courses we have done and when we did them.
Yeah, these are comments as the way through, aren't they? Yeah.
Comments about the badges, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Let's have a look here. See, there's a comment. Yeah,
Yeah.
badges are great individually, but they're really powerful as portfolios. Yeah, well said, Herb. This is brilliant. Relations. Do you have badges for IPCS debugging? I do not know.
I've sent the link through to that one, so
Very cool.
Answered.
There it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bloody hell. Language. Herb, come on. Okay, this has been a good conversation going on in the background. Can I unmute for a quick question? Yes, I will shut up now. Sorry. Herb, do you want to chat?
Oh, have I done that? Have I unmuted him or somebody unmuted him? Herbie.
I unmuted him.
I am now unmuted.
There he is.
Hello, gents. Thanks so much. Absolutely amazing. It's kind of a comment, and maybe you have some kind of opinions on this. So my experience is the youngsters really love the badges. So if you say, there's this available, and you're particularly interested in new talent, they would go, oh wow, we'll have a go at this. And some of the conversations I've had with firms, it's really that they use these as kind of like a kind of a recruitment kind of hygiene factor. So they'll meet people and they'll say, oh yeah, we're interested. And they'll say, okay, well, have a go at this, see how you do. And we can kind of take it from there. So in a way, it kind of helps kind of, kind of make your recruitment and onboarding the kind of brand new people who don't know about the platform just a bit smoother. I don't know if you've any experience of that or that's ever come up.
We have had clients that, but it was pre-badging. This was, but we had a client who's a particularly assertive operations manager based at a well-known catalog company a few years ago, but he used our assessments as a test, and he used it in quite a negative way actually. So he said, okay, this is our senior level operator or developer's assessment, and he would bring one of his people in and say, or three people in interview, and he would use it in that way and say, okay, well, you didn't pass the test, so you haven't passed it. So I've seen it used in that way, but that was only one client. But yeah, we have done a lot of the people, a lot of your guys actually, Herb, who come and talk to us at the conference, and that they start to earn badges. They're always asking about the badges. So but it's a great idea. I mean, whether we can use it, help people use it as a recruitment tool. I'll remember where I heard that from, Herb. That's a great idea.
The other thing I was going to say, you kind of touched on, perhaps you've noticed some good strategies for using them. Maybe there's a future talk for this stream on, kind of strategies for hiring managers, how to use these. Yeah, how to use these as part of your overall kind of educational kind of philosophy, maybe.
There's coincidentally, Giles and I are speaking tomorrow on digital credentialing and the benefits of that. So, but that's a really good point. I'll try and add that into the mix for the conversation. With Credly, which is the digital credentialing platform that IBM uses, you can actually start to look for people that have certain mixes of badges. So for an organization, again, people used to post their resumes up there saying, I know this, and this, these are my skills and this is my experience. Well, that's fine. But objectively, how do you know that's even true? And how enhanced and how exaggerated is that, and so forth. And you've got to try and find this stuff. The digital credentials, again, are that objective benchmark of truth from IBM, skills benchmark. And through Credly, you can say, okay, I've got a systems operator that I need to hire, or an application programmer that I need to hire, and these are all the skills that that person needs to have for me to want to hire them. You can go to Credly and start to look for people that have earned all these badges. So this is IBM saying, yes, they have done the training and they have that skill. So there's your objective benchmark. And you can run out a pick list of all of the people anywhere. These days, it's not so important to have people living, you know, within 5 miles of your data center as it was back in the day. Most corporations are hiring people globally these days. You can work from home, you can work from all around. And so corporations these days are, you know, highly skilled personnel are critical to your organization doing well. So it's become a bit of a talent race, like a gold rush, really. Everyone's looking for the most talented people and trying to get them into their teams. And with the great resignation happening at the moment, there's people out there looking for work, or whether you train them up internally, you can really have people from all over that are the most skilled, most talented, most inventive, most versatile, most everything, highly skilled personnel working on your team wherever they are. And again, the badges are that objective source of proof. So whether you do it through Credly, or whether you even just go to LinkedIn and search LinkedIn for a badge that you've seen on Credly that you think, okay, I wonder who's earned this badge, because they'll probably have the skills that I need for this job. And you'll find all of the people that have earned that IBM badge, and some of them will have that nice little thing on LinkedIn saying they're open to work or whatever. And so there's you, with a little bit of Sherlock Holmes, a little bit of research, you can start to find people that have the skills that you need for a new job role. And I hope I didn't get out into the weeds too much there, Herb.
No. That's exactly
this is
what I was after.
We're in the industry of big data. You know what I mean? Mainframes are about big data. So you know, the data is there to find highly skilled personnel if you want to start to use Credly and credentialing and LinkedIn and so forth. Again, talk to Herb, talk to Giles, talk to me. We'll be glad to give you some ideas on how you can do that. But as an organization, you can find the exact people. No longer have to find somebody that's vaguely interested in mainframe and try and train them up. Start getting a little bit more pointed with your searching, and find the people that already have the skills you need, because they're out there and the badges show that off objectively again.
Amazing.
Whether I'm not sure how many people are still on, and
17.
we've got 7 minutes, haven't we, Joris?
Yes, correct. We still have 7 minutes. So if there's anyone who would like to raise a question or have a short conversation, feel free to speak up and I will unmute you if needed.
Otherwise, we can give you 7 minutes to run down the hall to your next session.
Yes, I think
virtually.
this session is the keynote session from Meredith Stowell, who is in my line of business, the vice president. So I'm looking forward to that.
She's a great speaker.
And Skyla, of course, and Aparna. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
I don't think that anyone else had something to add or questions. So that brings us with the end of the session. And last but not least, that brings me to thank you very much, Darren and Giles, and Herb for the presentation and for speaking up. And with that, I indeed give you a few minutes back for a cup of coffee, and I hope you enjoyed. And we'll speak to each other soon, hopefully during the next sessions.
Thanks, Joris. Thanks, everybody, for listening in. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Great. Nice to see you.
Amazing. Thank you.
Cheers, Herb. Cheers. See you, everyone.